Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video, and today I have some incredible news regarding the Xbox Series consoles. AMD also just had a presentation at Gamescom, and they revealed FSR 3. They also revealed some new graphics cards, and I gotta say the news coming out of Gamescom is going to affect Xbox future. Now, without further ado, I'm just gonna get into the presentation that AMD did. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not gonna show all of it. Most of it I will show, and we're gonna get all of the important details. Like usual, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check it out for yourself in its entirety.
Welcome to the stage, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Radeon at AMD, responsible for all Radeon graphics, like the new RX 7000 series GPUs. Scott Herkelman! I've heard you have some exciting news for us.
Yeah, that's right, we do. You know, 2023 has been a massive year for new games, and developers continue to push the boundaries for PC experiences. And that's exactly why we built the RX 7000 series. That includes the 7900 series for gamers who play at 4K resolution, and also the 7600 series for the majority of gamers who play at 1080p resolution. However, more and more gamers are buying 1440p displays, and older GPUs struggle in these new games at this resolution. So I'm excited today to introduce two new GPUs, and let's get them running here. The first is the brand new Radeon RX 7800 XT 16 GB. And we are also announcing what we call its little brother, the Radeon RX 7700 XT 12 GB graphics card. Both come with DisplayPort 2.1 for brand new displays, AV1 for next-gen streaming, and of course, fast AI acceleration for the next generation of games.
I was checking out our Benchfest earlier a little bit and got to play some games on the new cards, and I gotta say, compared to my 2060 at home, man, I'm due for an upgrade.
You're definitely due for an upgrade. Upgrading your GPU is actually one of the easiest things you can do to make your system feel fast again. For example, you can see on the screen here, versus RX 2070 Super, which is a 4-year-old GPU. The 7800 XT gets you over 60 frames per second, and is 50% faster in The Last of Us, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and is twice as fast in other games like Resident Evil 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And with Radeon performance technologies, you can push frame rates even higher on the Radeon RX 7800 XT with FSR 2. The Last of Us Part 1 game gets over 90 frames per second at 1440p with settings maxed out, and these cards push triple-digit frames per second, and Horizon Zero Dawn close to 200 frames per second. And Lies of P, a new game launching this September, also gets close to 200 frames per second.
Wow. I mean, that sounds like gamers that love to min-max FPS to the absolute extreme are right at home with their Radeon.
Yeah, that's right, and let me just show you a broader view of games. And so if you look at native performance across even more of the most popular games in the industry right now, the Radeon RX 7800 XT trades blows with the competition, which this card is $599 from our competition, and it has more VRAM and the latest display technologies. And on the Radeon RX 7700 XT, across the same popular titles, it delivers over 60 frames per second with max settings on your 1440p display, often besting the 4060 Ti 16 gig. And you'll be able to buy the Radeon RX 7700 XT starting at $449, and the Radeon RX 7800 XT starting at $499. Those of you in the audience today that have been able to experience these new GPUs firsthand at the back of the auditorium are some of your results now live on screen on the 7800 XT across 6 games. But don't just take our word for it. Check out Benchfest. It's right behind you, all of you in the audience right now. You can go ahead and play the latest games on the RX 7800 XT and experience the smoothness for yourself.
What we've done is we announced a feature called HyperRX. All right, and HyperRX gets all these features, Radeon Super Resolution, Anti-Lag Plus, Radeon Boost, all of them working together for you, and it turns them on for you in all the games that we've profiled out there. So it's basically an easy button. You just turn on HyperRX and everything works for you, everything turns on for you. Now you're probably wondering, okay, like how much performance can HyperRX actually contribute to your games? Check these charts out. I mean, look at the kind of performance uplift that you're getting in Fortnite. Almost a 50% performance improvement in Fortnite when you turn on HyperRX. And it's not just frames per second. Your latency significantly reduces as well. Look at these latency differences when you turn on HyperRX.
Ich muss auch ganz ehrlich sagen, I do want to keep digging on some of the updates and news on software, so I'm just straight up going to ask, when is FSR 3 coming out?
You guys want an update on FSR 3? Yeah. I think it's the most replied comments I've been getting on social media is, where the heck is FSR 3? So we've got a great update for you today on FSR 3. So first of all, what FSR 3 is, in case you're not sure, is it's obviously the follow-on to FSR 2, our upscaler and our performance enhancer that integrates into games. But FSR 3 adds our fluid motion frames technology. And what that does is it literally generates frames for you in your game, which can double and in some cases triple your frame rate. And when you pair it with Anti-Lag Plus, it significantly reduces your latency as well. It's pretty incredible what the team has been able to accomplish with FSR 3. So, a couple other things you should know. It's still going to be open. It's going to work on Radeon 7000 series cards, Radeon 6000 series cards, and even older cards. How's that?
Hell yeah.
Doubling and tripling your frame rate on any card that can run it, basically. Okay, but we didn't stop there. It's Fidelity Effect Super Resolution. And AMD cares about all gamers. So we enabled FSR 3 not just to work on Radeon graphics cards, to work on any graphics card. And our engineers didn't stop there. It doesn't just work on any PC graphics card. It even works on consoles like the Microsoft Xbox. Everybody should get the benefit of frame generation of fluid motion frames. It shouldn't be reserved just for the small select few of people that can buy the latest generation graphics card. That's not right for gamers. Who wants to know when you're going to get your hands on FSR 3? So, first of all, let me show you FSR 3 in action. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is FSR 3 in Forspoken. This is their brand new DLC. Okay, and it's running here. You can see the kind of performance improvement that we're delivering with FSR 3. Nearly triple the performance improvement when you turn this feature on. And any of you guys checked out Immortals of Avium? Just came out. We've got FSR 3 integrated into Immortals of Avium as well. And you can expect both Forspoken and Immortals of Avium patches coming out early fall. Just a few more weeks ahead, you're going to see these patches come out, and you'll be able to take advantage of these massive frame rate gains. You probably want it in more than just 2 games, right?
I've been looking at the new Cyberpunk expansion, Phantom Liberty, and
you want FSR 3 in it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Space Marine
you got
as
it.
well?
FSR 3 for you. You got it.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
So we've already got a bunch of games coming out with committed support for FSR 3. So just check the screen behind me. Over 12 games have already committed to integrating FSR 3 in it. And beyond these 12 games, we've got a bunch of game developers as well, including Unreal Engine is going to put a plugin in Unreal Engine for FSR 3. And once you do that, you're going to get an absolute ton of games that are going to be integrating FSR 3. So expect FSR 3 support to grow very rapidly from here, just like FSR 1 and FSR 2 did. FSR 3 is pretty cool, obviously, right? But so we're going to put it in 10, 15, 20, 50 games. You know, our competitor has their frame generation in like 50 games or so. Wouldn't you like fluid motion frames in thousands of games? How about every DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 game you play, we can double and triple your frame rate. Wouldn't you like that? Yeah, we would too. So we asked our engineers if they can figure out a magical way of doing that, because nobody's been able to do it. Every frame generation technology right now requires integration into the game, and that limits how many games you can launch out there with frame generation. But the engineers at AMD are pretty special, and they figured out a way to put fluid motion frames into HyperRX. And that means pretty much any DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 game running the AMD Adrenalin HyperRX software is going to get the benefits of fluid motion frames, frame interpolation, and generation.
Awesome.
So it's already working. We've got it working in our labs. It looks absolutely incredible. It's going to be launching to the public by Q1, so just a few more months ahead. By Q1, we'll be introducing that in the Adrenalin driver with HyperRX. And stay tuned to AMD News to learn more about it. All right, guys, that's going to be unbelievable. There's no other solution out there like it. You're going to get massive frame rate improvements with fluid motion frames.
New cards, fantastic. Fluid motion, frames, and tech, amazing. But we got to talk about Starfield, right? We got to talk about the biggest game of the year. How good are the cards on Starfield?
Well, what's been great is we've been working with our friends at Bethesda now for many, many months, optimizing Starfield, not only across AMD Radeon GPUs, but AMD Ryzen CPUs. And I can't tell you the scores yet, but what I would tell you is that these cards are able to run Starfield exceptionally smooth at 1440p.
But who wants a free copy of Starfield? That's right. So, for a limited time, if you buy a Radeon 6000 or 7000 series graphics card, you get a free copy of Starfield with it. So if you're thinking about buying a graphics card, do it now. All right, that's an expensive game, and you're going to get a free copy of Starfield with any 6000 or 7000 series Radeon purchase. So I think now's the time to buy.
Hell yeah.
Incredible news coming out of Gamescom. I'm really floored by the information that we got today. Now let's start off with the 7800 XT and 7700 XT. And I got to say, these are okay GPUs. The price point is, I don't know, it's okay, I guess, in this type of climate. The 7700 XT doesn't really look as impressive to me as the 7800 XT, as that seems to have around 15 to 20% better performance for just $50 more. So it just doesn't make sense to me for anyone to invest in a 7700 XT. I'm glad to see that there's some other options out there for gamers, but this generation for graphics cards in a whole, it's pretty much been disappointment. Now the top level's been pretty good, like a 4090 is good, a 7900 XTX, it's good. The price value on a 4090, that's debatable, but it's a good card. The 7900 XTX is also a great card, but it lacks in ray tracing performance compared to a 4090. Now the rest of the cards down the stack, their price to performance isn't really good. Some of those cards are getting beat out by the previous generation. So I'm just not as enthusiastic about this generation of cards. I think the 7800 XT is a good buy if you're in the market for a 1440p graphics card. They also tied this in with Starfield. If you buy one of these graphics cards, you will receive Starfield for free, and this card is coming out on the same day as Starfield, September 6th. So it was overall a pretty good announcement. We also got some advertisement for Starfield. AMD is really going hard on this promotion. If you buy their CPUs as well, you also get the game. Now let's move on to FSR3. This was a crazy announcement. Now this is coming next month. This is coming early fall 2023. The first games to get this is Forspoken and Immortals of Aveum. It is also coming to the consoles. They announced that this will be on the Xbox console. Now, I've been pretty upset lately that Microsoft is not doing a mid-generation refresh. A lot of the tools that they have available to the developers, they're just simply not using it. Now, FSR2, we are seeing it creep into some games, but to be honest with you guys, I'd like to see it in a lot more games. Now, FSR3 is taking things to a whole new level, and I just can't see developers not taking advantage of this. Now, you're getting a big performance boost. You're getting 2 to 3 times performance boost. You're getting better resolution. You're getting better image quality. Now, on my PC, I do have the access to DLSS 3, and it's pretty good with the frame generation. It's getting better. In the beginning, I really didn't like it at all. it still kind of messes up in some games, but AMD is not doing the same implementation as NVIDIA. In fact, Digital Foundry got their hands on it, and they said that the image quality compares to DLSS 3. Now, they didn't talk about the artifacts, but them not talking about the artifacts also tells me that they are not present. Now, we're going to have to see this in motion, but this is fantastic news. Now, I was saying that I was upset that a mid-generation refresh was not happening with Microsoft, that Phil Spencer came out a couple of days ago at Gamescom, and he said that this is not going to happen, that they're going to allow developers to get more familiar with the hardware and with the software that's available to them, and he's not worried about it. Now, perhaps he knew that FSR 3 is coming on the console, and he saw the performance uptick that you will get. Now, these games on the Xbox Series consoles that are struggling to get 60 FPS, FSR 3 is a big deal. You're going to be able to increase your performance. The latency is pretty good from what I'm hearing on FSR 3. Of course, it's not going to be as good as a native game running on your system, but the latency will be tolerable. Now, I don't know if you're going to want to use it for first-person shooters, but for action-adventure games, single-player games, these type of campaigns, I think FSR 3 is going to be amazing. Now, I was hoping that FSR 3 would make an appearance in Starfield. It doesn't seem to be the case. As I mentioned, the games that will be receiving this first at launch will be Immortals of Aveum and Forspoken. So Starfield was not on the list, but I do expect it to make an appearance. Now, they also talked about this being on older generation cards. So if you have a 1080, it's going to work on your card. It's going to work on everyone's hardware, Intel. And they also took some shots at NVIDIA saying that you don't need new hardware to experience FSR 3. And I think this is a good thing for gamers. I think it's good for the industry. I think it's great for the Xbox Series X and S consoles. Like I said, I was upset that we weren't getting a mid-generation refresh. This will ensure that games run at 60 FPS and above. Some games are going to get easily up to 120 FPS. If you don't like the latency, that's fine. You don't have to use it. It's an option. But like I've always said, just give gamers the option to achieve 60 FPS and above on these consoles, and I think everything is going to work out. So I'm going to kind of just kick back and let's see how FSR 3 is implemented on the Xbox Series X and S console. And to be fair, this is also going to be on the PlayStation 5. But of course, we're just going to concentrate on the Series consoles, which really do need this boost, especially the Series S. A lot of games are just reaching 30 FPS on that system, and FSR 3 will ensure that some games run at 60 FPS and above. Also, we're going to get this in Unreal Engine 5. They announced that a plugin is going to be deployed, and this will be available in Unreal Engine 5. Now, Unreal Engine 5 games are extremely demanding on the consoles. And when you have FSR 3 available to you, some of these games for sure will be able to reach 60 FPS. So it's a very interesting thing that's going on right now with AMD. I gotta say right now, if you're a gamer, you have to tip your hat to AMD because they're allowing this to be available on all hardware, even their competitors, older hardware, the consoles. This is absolutely incredible. Now, I know I'm missing out a lot of things. I know you guys probably want to know how this actually works, and I'll get into that into another video. I don't want today's video to be too long. So just to reiterate, this is coming to the Xbox Series X and S as well as the PlayStation 5. FSR 3 works on consoles. It doubles and triples your frame rate. It is done differently than NVIDIA, and the results are really good based on what Digital Foundry has said. They said that the image quality is comparable to DLSS 3 and that they were surprised how good the quality was. Now, I don't think we're going to have to deal with the artifacts that we're getting in DLSS 3 because this, of course, is a different technique, and I haven't heard any journalist or outlet talk about that. So I'm going to assume that they're very few to none, which is also excellent news. The latency is apparently pretty good. So all in all, FSR 3 looks like a huge success. It is coming soon. It is coming this fall. In the next few months, a lot of games will have this implemented, and it doesn't have to be implemented on a game-by-game basis. This can be injected into all of your games. Now, before I let you guys go today, I also want to talk about Forza Motorsport. Now, IGN, they were able to see this game in action, and they were impressed with the performance. Now, they said it looked a lot better than the last build that they saw. In fact, it looked dramatically better. The game is running at 4K 60 FPS, and according to IGN and other reports, it is looking fantastic. Now, this game is coming out soon, and this is exciting news for Xbox owners because it's running 4K 60 with ray tracing. I don't know how they're doing this, but apparently this is the case. Now, as we get more information and more trailers come out and Microsoft does its deep dive on this game, of course, I'll report on it. I'll have it on the channel. But until then, this is the information that we have. This game is coming out soon, and it's looking fantastic, and it's running, once again, 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about today's announcements. Are you excited for the 7800 XT or the 7700 XT? What are your thoughts on FSR 3 working on older hardware, the competitors' hardware, as well as the Xbox Series X and S? Do you think that this will alleviate the need for a mid-gen refresh? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I usually say, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.